Are we doctors
He's
now?
telling the entire story of his wife's
OBGYNs?
labor. This is fantastic. It was exactly at the point where the baby's about to
you
pop
ruined the
out.
story.
And
Thanks,
then,
man.
and then Brendan pops out.
Right now?
Dude, the head is out, right? The head's out and the shoulders are stuck. And it went from this like beautiful moment, like everything was just going so great. It went from that to, they just looked, the nurse and the midwife just looked at each other. And I'm right there, right? And they're like, we have a shoulder. The nurse gets on top of Serena and she is pushing the fucking stomach as hard. Serena's in pain. She's like, oh, like this. It's just terrible, right? And she turns to us and she goes, calm down. There's going to be a lot of doctors in the room in the next 60 seconds. And we're just looking. She's in such pain. She's not even understanding what's happening. And they just call, like they press the thing. Like, what's the emergency? Shoulder. They just said shoulder. I'm talking like 20 seconds later, 10 doctors in the room. Okay? She keeps pushing. Her hand is in there. She's flipping the baby around. And she's like, she has her hand in there. She's trying to get the shoulder out. And literally like another minute goes by. I'm thinking, oh my God, my baby's dead.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking my baby's dead. And I'm just looking at Serena. I'm like, you just got to keep pushing. Because she's like, I'm just tired. She doesn't know what's happening, right? And I'm not trying to tell her.
Right.
But we're just telling her, like, keep pushing. And she keeps pushing. And then another 10 seconds, the baby just pops out. And he pops out. They drop him down. And his cord is stuck around his neck. They take the cord out. And then he's not doing anything. And now this was probably 5 seconds. But to me, it literally felt like
a year.
A year.
It takes forever.
And I'm just, you're so powerless. Like this, what am I there's nothing you can do. And then he just started coughing. He's like, and they're like, all right, everything's fine. They grab the baby. They put him on like a little nursery in the corner. Yeah. She's checking his bones and all that stuff. And they're like, okay, fine. And they just walked out. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? I should have gone. They grabbed, she's like, hey, do you want to cut, what do they call it? Do you want to cut his
cord?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I cut him. Everything's fine. The baby's crying. They put him on top of Serena. She's like, oh my God, isn't he beautiful? I'm not even there anymore.
You're like,
I'm like, oh.
And they're like, yeah, we'll see you later.
Yeah, bro, they just left. Like, oh, he's fine. I'm like, how is he fine? I'm touching. I'm like, I just saw, how is it possible that he's fine?
Yeah.
I saw what you did.
right.
And, you know, it comes out, and it literally took me like probably 2 days to be able to look at him and like not think, like not have that be the first thought.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm kind of over it, but it definitely was like one of the most humbling and transformative experiences of my life. It was just so wild, and it happened so fast, and I got it on video.
Great success.
Great success, right? Dude, because we had we had the midwife delivery, and then we had a doula. And the doula, because everything's going so great, I'm catching the baby, she's recording this, right? She's like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great moment. And she's recording it, and then it's just getting more crazy, intense, and it's just doctors walk in, and then she drops it at some point, but you can see like half of what I just described on video.
Holy shit.
And then literally the next day, I was like, I need to watch this video. I have to watch this video. And I'm watching the video, and it's just as bad. I'm like, maybe I imagined it, right? Maybe I'm like, it was in my head. It was just
as terrible.
It was actually worse, right?
Wow.
But yeah, and then he's out, you know.
That's crazy.
He went to work today, so everything's good.
Kid looks like he smoked a pack of cigarettes already in a war.
2-liter Coca-Cola bottle with him in his car.
With an eighth of vodka in his pocket.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yelling at his wife on the phone. I'll be there.
I'm hungry. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys and all your babies, man.
I know, it's a wild time, man. It's a lot of fun. A little stressful sometimes, a lot of fun though. Very rewarding.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just like not the same human anymore.
Yeah,
It just,
changes you for sure. In a good way. In a good way.
In a great
you needed change, so it's good it all worked out for you.
I need to take up my shit. No, but it's beautiful. I mean, the first 2-3 nights, because in the hospital you really don't sleep. Even the baby's sleeping, they just walk in every 40 minutes, like doing something, and they don't care. Like they're talking to you, like, you know, I'm like passed out, and they woke me up once,
doesn't matter.
and they're telling me something, and my head's going. Woo, I'm like, I don't know what is happening. What are you saying, right? Yeah. But anyway, so the 2 days later we come home, same thing that night. I couldn't sleep, so it's 3 nights without sleep, and your head is just buzzing, like it's just you can't even function. And then the night number 4, I think we figured kind of like a balance. She went to sleep. She slept for like 4 or 5 hours, 4 hours, and then I slept for like 4 hours. I woke up. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting
We
that
have
block of
arrived.
sleep in a row. That's what we
Yes.
found out was
Yeah.
like, an hour here, hour there, hour there. So sure, you're getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep, but it's not,
No,
you're never
you
getting
just
to like a deep sleep. You got to get 4
Just
hours
some
straight
sort of
sleep
deep sleep,
minimum. You
yes.
have to, 'cause
Yeah.
otherwise you just can't function. And so if both of you are tired, then neither of you are showing up the way you really need to be showing up to take care of them the right way.
Yes.
So if you both get some rest at some point in time, everyone's much happier that way.
Yes.
Much,
Yeah.
much happier.
Yeah. Yeah. That was that. I noticed that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we have to. She's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, one of us has to have their shit together
Yeah.
at any given time.
Well, I mean, you know, my wife took the brunt of like the overnight stuff, and she still does. But we're both at least getting that block of sleep still,
Yes.
which is great. And obviously, you guys are in the same boat, so it's got to have that, man. Otherwise, you just can't
Yeah.
function.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys are going to be tired for the next like 7 years. Just so you know.
Right?
Great news.
You all right over there, Chimp?
Great news.
Yeah. You figuring out your password? Let's see if you lock up the computer. I want to watch this. You can get on this side and do it like a regular person. Do. Okay, what is this? Owl 243.
Albert, I love Albert.
What was Henry's company name?
Baby Steps LLC.
He goes start doing developments in Providence.
He goes, I haven't making calls at home right now. And he goes, Baby Steps. I said, is that the name of his company?
Oh shit, that was funny.
Actually, great.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next big idea. We start an ISA company of babies.
And we get babies from Thailand.
Yeah.
They're much cheaper than babies.
That's so messed up.
But we won't know their age. They could be older. They could be 20 years old.
Smoking cigarettes.
Oh my god.
So, do we have any real topic today, or we're just talking about birthing stories?
He told
All
me
right,
great
Justin, it's your
stories.
turn.
Oh yeah, he did it. Yeah, did you guys think of a topic at all?
No.
Great.
So, I mean, I could just say a couple of things that I've been seeing in the broker world the last couple weeks. I am definitely seeing an uptick in unrepresented buyers coming in and wanting to make offers directly with the agent. And I'm also seeing an uptick in agents that don't know what the hell to do when that happens.
Yeah.
It's
I
amazing.
texted this morning today.
All right?
Yeah, I saw that text. I was like, I was like, what is he doing?
Well, it was the first
He's asking
time. And
about
it
forms.
wasn't even like an unrepresented buyer. Like, technically, I guess they didn't have representation, but they are my client. I've sold them 4 houses now, and they just happen to come to my open house, and they're like, hey, we want to buy this house. And I was like, oh. So I don't know how to make this work. Like, they understand that things have changed, and they're okay with that. I was just like, I don't know the right process for this stuff. So,
Yeah.
So it's a good question and a good topic actually to cover. So technically at that moment, you had a fiduciary responsibility to the seller
Correct.
as a designated representative.
correct. Yep.
And in that moment had no responsibility, even though it's a past client.
Correct.
Right.
And they understood that from the beginning because I
Right.
told them how things had changed. So,
So at that point, you're now just a transaction facilitator, right? And that's what your mandatory relationship disclosure would say is,
Yep.
hey, I'm just a transaction facilitator for you. I can essentially do the paperwork. I can't make any recommendations as far as price or anything else, any other terms that are on this. It's really up to you how you want me to fill this form out.
yep.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Which we did have 2 offers, and they did actually submit an offer. It was like legitimately a better offer overall than the other offer was. By the agent had a higher commission structure. They offered a lower price. Like their offer, all in all, was better on several factors, not just because I knew them.
Right.
So
Now,
Yeah.
my question on this is when you were negotiating with the seller, as far as your professional services fee was concerned, did this topic come up?
with my listing, the listing
Yes.
side, yes. I just told them how the process of commission structures has changed, and I break it down. What I charge and what you think you should have what you think you should account for in an offer when they come in, because it can be a variety of factors that come into it, whether they charge, their client directly, they're charging us the fee to their agent. There's multiple ways we could do it, and they understood that. And I always just give them a net sheet based on sales prices with a variety of, a range of sales prices and a range of the commissions, knowing that they can be different, but they're mentally prepared and knowing what those numbers are, the net, regardless of the commission is, they can look at it and say, okay, that's where we thought we were going to be at. So
Love it.
yeah,
That's great. And did you specifically address a unrepresented buyer coming in or
not? No, because it wasn't. It's not something that, to be honest with you, like I have in 12 and a half years and 450 transactions, it's been less than 10 times total. Like it's not something that comes, and that's over 12 years. It's not like it happens all the time. It just happened to be this way.
Yeah, it's
today.
uncommon. Yeah, it is. But when you said the transaction facilitator, I mean, I've always done that. Even before, I don't think you can do anything else.
You can't. You cannot have
you have a listing contract with your client. So if you have a buyer that just walks into your open house, you don't have. I mean, you don't have a fiduciary obligation to that buyer. It's your listing. So my job is to get my clients the most amount of money, which is what I did.
Yes.
So.
And also, you literally cannot. You cannot represent two parties.
Correct.
And even I would think. So what about this scenario? Let's say you have you're representing both parties, right? But you started representing the buyer at a different time, and now they see this house that you listed, and they want to make an offer. Are you able to say, okay, before we talk about anything, I have to void my buyer agreement with you, and we have to go into a transaction facilitator agreement. Then you can come and see the house, because this way, that's how I can legally do it.
Because does the agreement on the house that you're looking at supersede the buyer agency agreement, which is a general form as opposed to a specific form for that one house?
Yes. Yeah. That is the scenario that I would recommend in that situation. If an agent asked me, I would recommend for that particular property that you have to disclose that you'd be in a transaction facilitator role, because you cannot humanly be a direct representative of both parties in that transaction. So one of two things: either one, you have to move it to a facilitator, or two, you have to let them know that you'd have to have someone else represent them if they wanted full representation.
You get like a referral fee from referral to somebody else.
For that particular property.
Yeah.
So,
this is actually a really good topic to talk about, because it literally just happened today.
No, it is, and it's so.
And it's something that I didn't know
it's
how to
layered.
navigate.
It's also very layered. I've probably done the same, maybe like 6-7 double ends in my career, like legitimate with a regular client.
Yep.
And it's funny because it's a certain buyer. To me, like if a buyer comes in unrepresented, I still try to vet them. Let's just say even before the new rules and regulations, I still try to vet them. If they're confident, I'm like, okay, we'll do this. But if I feel like they're just a nervous wreck, I will call someone else. Like we've done what, maybe two like
two or
this?
Three,
yeah, 2 or 3.
You
because
can call me.
I know, I'm sorry. He's cheaper. He'll actually do the drive and go out there and do it.
you were in the Cape in a way.
Actually, yeah, exactly. Because this was during the summer. You were in the Cape. But I remember like meeting that guy, right? And he was just so excited to do it, but he was a little too excited. And I knew that this is just kind of the dopamine in his brain. He's like, oh, I'm getting this house, right? Yeah. And he's just not thinking about anything else. And I just had this feeling. So I called him. I said, hey, I have this guy. Would you want to represent him? I'm not giving you all the commission, but we can figure out a situation. I will kind of handle the transaction, but you need to be there, because I just don't think I should double end this deal. And we agreed. We figured out that part. And after we did that, he started like asking about property lines, plumbing, like all sorts of crazy shit that if he had not been in the situation, I would have been in a very like
precarious situation.
Very uncertain type territory where I wouldn't know how to answer. And then we had an appraisal issue, right? The property appraised by under $7,000. My sellers did not want to give anything. So now how do it was just too much to handle. Yeah. And it worked out. Like I think if he wasn't involved, a high chance that deal wouldn't have closed.
Right.
Just because I was so limited into what I can say and what I can't say.
Right.
Now we're talking about people who do things legit. Now, there's a lot of realtors who don't give a shit about any of what we're talking about, and they're just going to do it, and they do it. Unfortunately, most of the time they're going to get away with it until somebody at some point gets caught.
Right.
A little,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
So what are you seeing when you're saying you see an uptick in unrepresented buyers now? How are you seeing it handled right now with people that have the listings?
So I have, well, good question. So the reason why I bring it up is because, number one, obviously people are trying to understand the representation aspect of it, right? With the transaction facilitation, et cetera. But number two, the reason I specifically asked you about, did you mention an unrepresented buyer coming in at the time of negotiating your professional services fee for listing? Most agents are not there yet in thinking about, hey, I should probably put a scenario out in front of these folks that if that happens, then what? So I'm actually seeing a hefty majority of these situations where the listing agent is now working as a transaction facilitator for the buyer and not getting paid anything else additionally to their original listing fee that they were charging just to represent the buyer. Just to represent the seller.
Right.
So it's kind of screwing people over for not mentioning it to the seller in the first place. Now, there's two schools of thought to that, right? From the seller's perspective, and I understand it, they're kind of like, well, you work for me, your job is to get me an offer and get me a deal done, and who cares how it comes in? It's get the deal done, right? I'm paying you to put the deal together and get it done, which I understand. But I think that's the response you're going to get if you don't have a conversation up front and really illustrate to the seller what that actually means for us as far as work is concerned, because that's a hefty amount of work still that then has to get done.
Yeah, of course.
We don't have someone else on the other side facilitating this transaction. We have to do the whole thing. We've got to talk to their attorney. We've got to talk to the lender. We've got to do all the things.
Right.
So there is way more additional work, and I think it needs to be accounted for at the time of conversation with the seller when you're talking about compensation.
Yeah.
Usually the way, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, prior to all the changes with NAR, I had seen a lot of people, at a listing presentation say, all right, I charge 6%, I'll charge, 5% if I get a direct buyer, or whatever, how you want to structure it. 5% with the co-broke fee, 4% if I have a direct buyer. So it was kind of negotiated before for some people, but some people just never mentioned that. But some people had like a menu, so to speak, of like a package. But a lot of people don't do that. So
yeah, I've done both, depending on the commission negotiations. So if, let's say I have a seller and they say I don't want to pay, this much, so I'll say, okay, this is before, right? Before I used to do, okay, let's say I charge you 6%. Out of the 6%, I'm going to keep 3%, and I'm going to pay the buyer's agent 3%. And then I would say, if in case a buyer comes in unrepresented, I will drop my commission to 4.2%. Right. So everybody loved that. Okay, that sounds fair, whatever. Another way to handle it is if you didn't cover it with the seller, and if it happens, before you get into any sort of agreement, you go back to the seller and say, hey, this is a situation that we didn't really cover. So you have a good offer, you have a good buyer, but they're unrepresented. Now, I cannot only charge my seller fee here because I have to do double the amount of work. Maybe I'm not going to charge 6%, but I'm going to charge, again, like 4.5 or 5% because I have to do this kind of work.
Right.
And they will understand it, right? Because most of them will, because it's just a lot of work.
And
it's more work than if an agent was involved. Because it's just
100%.
But your seller doesn't recognize that until you break it all down for them. There's so many things that are involved that they just don't see because they're just looking at, all right, my house is selling, you're making all this money, and they're not there for the 100 phone calls or text messages and all that other nonsense we deal with. So.
And the other thing is, if like this client, you kind of knew them, so you have a relationship with them.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 4 transactions with them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But if it's a new buyer who just walks into your open house, again, even if they're super excited, at some point throughout the transaction, they're going to turn on you.
Yes.
Because they just feel, oh my God, did I rush this? Yeah. Should I have gotten an agent? It's just normal. Like, I know every time it happens, even if you're perfect, it just happens. And then if something goes wrong, which it always does, because that's what happens in a real estate transaction. Right. Now it's like, oh, okay. So you have to, it's just more work because you're not only just managing the transaction, you're doing like the psychological part of it now to keep them comfortable.
Yeah, so true.
I've had to, like, other brokers before I've had to like call brokers and just say, hey, like, just have a conversation with this person, like make sure they understand, because they just seem a little and I'm fussy right now.
A million
know?
percent, a million percent. And no matter you nailed it. No matter what you do, someone's always going to think they're getting screwed.
Yeah.
And you know what sucks too is a lot of the times it ends up being the seller. It ends up being your designated client rep, where they're like, "Well, who are you working for here?" You know?
Yeah.
Whoa. I've had that question asked of me before, and it infuriates me because I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, I've been very transparent about this whole situation, and I'm trying to put this deal together for you because I am just a facilitator for this person, and you're gonna ask me, wait, remember you work for me, right? One of those types of scenarios. Whoa, I hate that.
Yeah. Yes. I would be like, no, I don't. Cancel the contract. See you later.
Exactly.
I'm all set with you. I don't need people like that.
Exactly.
But, yeah, no, it's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing.
No, I just, it's unfortunate, but it does happen a lot. But
Yeah.
you choose who you work with.
I wanted to cover another thing.
Well, I actually had well, I didn't forget
I
what I
meant
even
to
asked
ask you, like, what was that? Just were you just shooting the shit?
No, I wasn't.
I literally have the baby. I'm texting him the breakdown, and then he just nothing. Just goes.
So I had two clients that came in over a year ago now, and one wanted to be new construction and like rent them, Plainville, like North Attleboro area, and they had a budget like up to $850 or so. But I said, in rent them new construction basically starts at like $1 million. Like that's probably low.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of cut that out, and they were looking for a while, just couldn't find what they want, and they kind of just follow up with them every now and then. And then it's kind of similar situation. Another one, they live in Attleboro now. They want to be in Rehoboth, specifically in Rehoboth, and I was like, okay, well maybe Swansea would be an option if it's Seekonk. Seekonk would be an option if
it's right on the border. It's South Seekonk. It's literally right there. It's,
so that's why I asked, was like, what I needed more details about what was going on in that development to send to them. Yeah. Both of which ghosted me, so that's why I ghosted
they ghosted you. Oh, I see. Okay.
Now the truth comes out.
No, so I mean, I just haven't heard back from them just yet. I know you guys are still in the early phases of it. So how many lots do you guys have over there? I forget what it was.
So it's total six lots. We're actually we have our first official closing on Friday. Everything's done.
Nice.
So we're closing on the first one on Friday.
Question about the closing real quick.
Yes.
Are they buying the lot and then getting a construction loan, or is it one flat closing all wrapped into together?
So this one is going to be, they're buying the lot and then they're getting a construction loan. But that's how that looks like on our end. But on their end, they're getting a loan for the whole thing, the lot and the construction.
So
we're just getting
split on your side.
Correct. So we're just getting
but a buyer can come in there and they can say, all right, I need a loan for the lot and I need a loan for the construction. Correct. And it's going to be covered in one complete package. Who's offering those packages?
So right now I'm working with Bay Coast Mortgage. Susan Parker. Okay. She does a lot of that stuff in Seekonk and Rehoboth, and she really understands it in depth. And that's the most important part.
You need someone that understands, otherwise it's a disaster.
So we had another buyer, and they had Rocket Mortgage.
Right? Forget it.
Yeah. Listen to this, right? I tell the agent, I'm telling the agent, I tell the agent, I'm like, hey, this pre-approval is not going to work because of this. You got. I don't think Rocket has a new construction program, from what I understand. And she got so defensive because it's different, right? It's not like a regular transaction. And even when I started it, I was like, okay, like there's a learning curve. Yeah. And I humbled myself and I learned. I called the lender. I called everybody I need to know to understand the difference in process. And I did it. And it took me 2 hours. So now I'm trying to tell this agent, right? Hey, this is a little bit different. And she just she was so defensive. She didn't want to seem like she didn't know what she was doing. And she's like, no, I know it works. I know it works. I'm like, okay, I'm just telling you, if I was you, I would like you to check with a lender. Right. Just make sure that they cover this. Right. She goes, okay. And then she goes, I just checked with him. He can do it. Fine. They make an offer. We go under contract. And then the next day, I send her the breakdown of the process. And then she calls me later. She goes,
can't do that.
Yeah, no, they can't do that. They basically thought we have a $5,000 reservation form, right? So you put a $5,000 to reserve the lot. What that means is you put the lot under agreement while you get approved for the new construction. You pick your house, you meet with the architect, you do your designs, right? You do all this stuff during that 30 to 45 day period. You pick the final house, then we grab the final house, we send it to the lender, then the lender produces the clear to close, and now we close on the lot. That's how the process works. And then at the end, you're going to put at least 10% down of the whole thing, right? Which is close to $100,000.
Is that a non-refundable
right?
deposit at that point?
Say it again.
Is it non-refundable at that
It's,
point?
at that point, it's a non-refundable deposit, but this happens later, right?
What's your reservation deposit amount?
5,000.
And that's refundable.
That's refundable. 5,000 refundable. You go through the process. You understand it. If it doesn't work for whatever reason, you get the money back.
Yep.
So now I explained this to her, and she goes, "Oh, they thought they only have to put $5,000." I'm like, who in the world would build you a custom home for $5,000? What if you said, "I want black floors"?
Right.
What do you have to lose $5,000, and now we're left with this house that is you built, right?
Impossible. Yeah.
And then and literally she calls me the next day. She goes, "Yeah, that's too risky for them. They don't want to do it." They asked me, "How old is the builder, and what if he dies? What happens then?" I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "No, you're fine. You don't want to do it." But that's why it's it's different. So
Well, what happens?
if the builder dies,
Then Albert finishes it.
Henry, my son, will finish it. My son will go in there and finish it. No, but you have a warranty, right? You have builder's warranty. You have all that stuff. Obviously, in the unlikely event of that happening,
Insurance, builder's insurance.
you have all that stuff, and then you would just bring another builder, and they would finish out the project. But we're doing different things to offer people different things. So we're doing custom homes, and we're also going to put 2 spec homes. So we're going to do 2 really nice. You can put. I'll send you the house. So you can see it, like a really nice ranch, beautiful. 2,600 square foot
One
ranch.
level ranch?
One level ranch.
That's going to fly.
So you know what's crazy? We were gonna do colonials, and then literally probably I've gotten 50 calls. Out of the 50 calls, 45 everybody wants a ranch. I don't know why. I don't get it.
dude.
Well, because you have
Baby
people
boomer
that,
generation right now.
people
bro.
are downsizing from their big colonials, and they still want a new house because they're selling their house for probably $1 million in the areas and Rehoboth or whatever, and saying I want 1 floor now.
Yes.
And they're willing to pay for extra because it's more expensive to do the ranch than
I
it
was
is
just
to
gonna
own it.
say, but this is what drives me nuts about builders, because every time I say to a builder, like, why are you not just building ranches? What's wrong with you? And they're like, well, it's more expensive. I was like, buyers don't give a shit right now.
No.
They will pay anything to get into ranches. Like, I would, if I was a contractor and I was into building, and if I was a guy that I partnered with you on those lots, I would have said immediately, I'm building all ranches. We're going to charge $150,000 extra for each one. And I don't care.
That's what we're doing.
Yes.
That's what we're
You
doing.
know what else is flying right now is 55 and over communities.
Oh my God. Killing
You
it.
can't build them fast enough because they're all baby boomers that want to downsize and
my
they
God.
got nowhere to go. They want something nice.
They have money.
And they
here's
have
the
money.
You know what's crazy about baby boomers? They live in they're right now, they're living in their own economy.
Yes.
Okay. They're unaffected by interest rates, inflation. Actually, no, they are affected. They benefit from
Positively,
it. Okay. Like their houses, they're selling them from their stocks are through the roof. Everything for them is just like, you know what I mean? So they don't care if they spend another $100,000.
Right.
Now, we're also working with younger buyers. Like, okay, 875 is our max. So now I'm trying to figure out how we can meet that 875. We still want the hardwood floor. So you kind of like looking at details. So that's the tough part. But ranches, I mean, we're doing a really, the one we're closing on Friday, they're doing a nice ranch, but then we're doing another one next to that lot. And this one is going to be a little bit bigger. So it's probably going to be like, when we're done, it's probably going to be $1 million that it's going to sell for. Easy. And it's nice. It's just, and now I'm looking at these plans, I'm like, oh wow, like I never thought about a ranch this way, but they're just because the basement is big and you have the patio and the tall ceilings. It's
really nice.
They're beautiful. They're really nice.
It's really nice. And I would
wide
walk
open.
upstairs at night to go to bed and just walk right in the hall.
It's beautiful. So no, you're gonna crush it with those. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing because it's just a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces. It's just a slow. It's not even that's a lot of work. It's just slow moving. So like I'm doing my best.
Well,
but
it's a constant flow of work, and it's just
flow,
like
correct.
it's just going to take a long time for it to pay out, but it will. I mean, it's a nice product.
Yeah.
People are going to get nice houses.
Yes, yeah. I love it. It's so nice. I love it. I'm very excited about it. We actually did some drone shots with Mason there today. I almost broke my neck on the rock, but we'll maybe put that video on the podcast too. But yeah, I'm super pumped. I love it. I just think it's a huge opportunity. Just on a business sense too, like
you
to
learn
look at
a lot too,
developments.
and hopefully maybe this will lead to more projects for you too.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope I don't have to do this fucking podcast anymore.
All right, I have another topic to cover. This one has been on my mind. Okay.
Oh boy.
Hey, don't forget the reveal, by the way.
Yes, I got.
Okay, good.
Now I feel like it's going to be the biggest letdown ever.
What kind of laugh was that?
Dude. So before you came in, there's a bag over there, right? So Mason grabs the bag. He's like, "Oh, what's in the bag?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna reveal that on the podcast." And he goes, "Okay." And he starts taking the shit out of the bag. I was like, "I'm gonna reveal it on the podcast." He's like, "Oh, but like, are these the?" He thought it was the curtains for that window to fix the light. I was like, "We're gonna reveal it on the podcast, Mason. Put the fucking shit back in the bag."
Let me say this
Drop the
again.
bag. Walk away from the bag. You dumbass.
I can't make it any more clear.
Do not touch the bag.
I should have said like Serena's text. Don't touch my shit.
Oh my god! And he's still. Anyways.
I feel like now I have to go get that.
Yeah. No, we built this up. Do you want me to get it?
Hold on.
This is it.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to give you.
I'm not looking.
No.
I can look though.
I've been meaning to give
You
you.
already looked.
You already looked.
So I got this is my Rise bag. I got this at Rise in Vegas.
sweet.
So this is straight from Vegas. If you guys want to touch it,
I still.
Yeah, that's pretty gay,
this is as close as you're gonna get to Vegas in a long time.
I love that.
No, I got you guys presents that I meant to give you. So now I'm gonna give them to you as fatherhood presents, I guess.
Wow. No, I'm not. Nope. This guy, I want a real fatherhood present.
So
Oh yeah.
I got you guys. Don't pay attention to the sizes, but I got you guys real swag.
Some real swag.
Yeah.
Let's check this.
And
We love some real swag.
I'm loving this podcast,
This
Mason.
is great. What do we get next week?
oh shit! I thought I lost my Gucci belt. Was it here?
Such a tool.
Yes, I win. I won the best
Oh my
present.
god. Oh,
I was like, I never
Was that staged or?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. This is actually like super nice.
We can hang them over
Yeah,
the
that
windows
is.
and lock the window.
Yeah,
We couldn't see it. He's still caught up.
yeah, they're super nice.
You know what's funny? My first real swag I ever got was my elite agent, which I don't, neither one of you guys gotten before. But, it was. I appreciate it. It was a pullover like it was a pullover like this, and they sent me a woman's pullover instead of the men's one,
Awesome.
and I never got it. Never got it fixed. And I
Are you
replaced
serious?
it. So
Awesome.
I don't know where it is
That's
anymore.
great.
I think it's hung up.
I
in
know, our
closets
broker
someplace.
sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, I will say this was pre Justin sucking at our state broker. It was a
Yeah.
previous state broker.
Oh my god.
Actually, I think it was like at that point it was like two state brokers ago.
Brokers ago.
So, and then my second time hitting elite, I never got anything. Just
No
never,
swag?
never.
Well,
no
they
swag.
realized, okay, this guy's gonna hit elite every year.
Yeah.
Like,
But now,
and he's not even trying.
and-
So there's no reward for him.
so we'll see. I just hit elite last week, so we'll see if I get something this year. Probably not though.
All right.
I
Maybe
guess.
Tamir sees his
I guess.
podcast.
I guess the $400,000 was good enough.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. That'll work.
Cashing out a quick 80,000 to buy a new Mercedes.
Right.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Right.
What other broker
Here's
is doing that?
16 grand that's going to turn next year into 100. There you go.
Meanwhile,
Great.
other brokerage. Here's a pen.
Yeah. Congratulations. Not even.
Here's a cap.
You made the top 10% of our brokerage.
Woo! There you go.
There's
Oh,
only 240 people
Yeah.
here.
And the crazy thing is, most agents want that
Bro.
than an actual. Literally, here's $16,000. No, I want the pen.
Yeah.
I want the Facebook post.
We have a copy machine. So
We have a copy machine.
Yeah. I think they still charge you 10 cents a copy too for black and white. 25 cents for color.
inflation's a bitch.
Dude.
No, but actually, all right, this was a great segue into what I actually wanted to talk about with you guys as far as this is concerned.
No more gifts?
No more gifts. Fuck, you're done. There are brokerages out there that
You do this, and then I'm gonna have to ask you which brokerages are there.
I know you're gonna. I
have
know
to
you're gonna ask. There are brokerages out there that have locked their locked their agents into the most ridiculous contracts. Then, if an agent leaves, they are legit suing them for leaving.
What?
Like, I'm telling you,
Compass.
there are brokerages out there
Compass.
that are actually
Compass,
suing their
William Reeves.
former agents.
Compass, William Reeves.
Why? How's that possible?
It's insane.
You're an independent
So
contractor. You can go where you want to go.
ICAs they make them sign are absolutely, in my opinion, criminal. There's ICAs that are going on out there that are saying, listen, we're going to give you this peddler's amount of money. And if you leave, You have to pay us back in full all this money before you leave. You are not allowed to solicit any other
Is there
agents
a
at this
time-
company.
Is there a timeline in the contract?
Yes. There are
Okay, so
timelines.
why is that criminal? Let's just. I'm just
3
gonna take,
years, 4 years, 5 years.
They
these
signed it,
timelines. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Right?
If you're getting money, if somebody's cutting you a check to join their brokerage,
yeah.
it's a business.
Well, no, but you
they gotta
should be
make the
required
money
to
back.
stay for a certain amount of time. But if you leave after that said time is up, that's not my obligation to pay you back. I fulfilled my contract
Well, I don't
the
think
time
he's
that
saying
I'm
that.
here.
I think it's people.
But he's saying when you leave after the contract period,
Well, no, some of them are breaking that,
Yeah.
right? And they're leaving within
which
it.
if you break that, you should pay it back. I get that.
So, okay.
Right?
But
That's fair, right?
Here, I'm gonna point at the camera and say this directly to those brokerages right now. If
Compass.
your brokerage, if you are one of those brokerages out there that are locking agents into contracts that you know are ridiculous, and you have to go ahead and hold them to that contract, and that's your value proposition, well then guess what? You have no value proposition and you suck. And you shouldn't even be in business anymore because it's an absolute criminal practice, and all those agents need to get freed from that because it's insane.
Bringing the
It's
heat.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I agree with you on the empathy side of things, but on the business side of things, I think it's fair. And I think if you're an agent who got a $10,000 check and that it's your fault and you deserve to be in that position.
I get it.
I was offered that before. I was offered $15,000 to join a brokerage here in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
You know what? I was like, it sounds
Yeah,
great,
but-
but, I thought about it. But then when I looked at the contract, I'm like, this is
Not like contract. You
3-year
just do basic
contract.
math. The splits. You're paying yourself $15,000 in advance. Is all you're really doing.
Of course.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I
I
get
get
it.
it.
Transparent
Just so you
about
know,
that, so.
if you're an agent, right? If somebody is offering you that, just so you know, they ran the numbers and they know they're going to make that money back from you in 6 months.
It's
Nothing
literally
is
a
free.
cash
It needs to be
advance for
produced.
yourself. That's
Like
the
if
thing
you
that's
don't
free.
sell houses, you're not getting offered that. You know what I mean?
Nothing is free.
Exactly.
And you have to know it. And of course, agents have to be mindful of it for sure. But I mean, this particular brokerage that I'm talking about, I mean, I've talked to probably 10 agents at this brokerage.
William Reeves.
And I've probably talked to 10 agents at this brokerage, and they are all wanting to leave. They're miserable. They hate it there. It's completely killed all of their goodwill with the company, and they're stuck as slaves at this brokerage.
Okay. Would they be able to pay the money back and leave?
Some would, some can't.
I'm sorry. Fuck you.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
I totally
you
get
just want to
it.
leave? You just
totally
want
get
to.
it.
You got the cash. And I mean, it's a
But
contract.
if you're willing to pay it back, then you should be able to leave. You know.
yeah, but I
for
promise you.
sure.
I promise you, most of them don't want to pay it back.
But
course, but,
my
you know,
my
just
qualm,
if-
all right, I should say my qualm is not so much with the quote unquote
Hey, Siri.
enforcement.
Give me qualm definition.
I said precarious earlier, and I'm like, he probably has no idea what that means.
I connect the dots. I connect the dots.
My issue is not so much with the agent and like I get it, right? That's a business decision. But my point of all of this is if your value proposition as a brokerage
Yeah.
is to throw money at people and then keep them as slaves, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
There's no value to that whatsoever,
Right,
and
no.
you're going to fail.
Yeah.
You're going to fail. You cannot compete against other brokerages that have
Are literally doing the opposite. They're giving you money to come.
Tamir, our CEO and founder, his entire process is how do I make the lives of agents better?
Yeah.
Are you making the life of an agent better by holding them a slave because you gave them $10,000 3 years ago?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so.
Or no.
It's very clear, and I know we're all at the same brokerage, but there are a lot
Yeah,
of
no
brokerage
bias here at all.
No, but there are other brokerages that are doing well too. We're not the only ones, but the models are all changing because they're realizing that they have to change
Yeah.
because it's just the way the world works.
Yes.
You either adapt or die, and a lot of these
100%.
companies, while they're trying to adapt, they're adapting, in a wrongly. They're not doing it the right way, even though we feel like we're in the right position where we're at. But a lot of those companies that are doing these things. They're not going to be around forever. They're going to go away.
Yeah.
Just-
You know what's funny? This is a couple of years ago. This was before even you were at Real. And even before Real was anything really. I mean, this was when EXP was kind of popping up, right? Back in the day. I was at Keller Williams for a hot minute. And I remember, like, at that time, EXP was just crushing Keller Williams. Like they took all their producers. You know what I mean? Like that's really who EXP was founded by. One of the top
KW.
guys, KW, and then he got a couple of other top guys, and that's just how it worked. But I remember being there, and I worked with a guy who had, pretty much a direct link to the number 2 person at Keller Williams, the person right under Gary Keller, and his job was to talk to agents all over the country who were at Keller Williams to just find out if they're thinking about leaving, if they're thinking about staying. So it was a big problem. They were losing a lot of money, and the brokers were pissed. And Gary Keller, which I love. He had a meeting, and apparently at some point in a meeting he said, if I could do this over again, I would do the XP model, right? I want to go to the point that you mentioned. You said, right, that brokers are trying to adapt. Some of them are going to adapt, right? But unfortunately, most of them are not going to be able to adapt
I
because
agree
the way they have contracts with sub brokerages in different states, and just Keller Williams, just because I know a little bit about it, but I know Remax is the same. Local franchisee owners have rights, and you can't just switch that around on them.
Right.
So now they're stuck, right? So they can't really change them out. They have office leases, all these things.
Yeah.
They can't say, oh, let's go compete with Real. Because this model clearly works. So they have to compete with us in different ways, which is keep people in contracts, threaten people to leave because they have no choice until maybe like there's a certain timeline and then they
Eventually
can slowly
it's
change.
going to run up, though. Eventually it's going to run up. And once they run out,
things are
it's
gonna
just,
settle.
people are going to go other way and it's just going to be gone. It's going to be gone.
things are gonna settle.
And I try and be clear about it. I tell people all the time, like Gary Keller is, I still think, one of the brightest minds in real estate. He was the one that invented the model of sharing any kind of profits, revenue, anything like that. He is very, very, very smart guy. It's just things are still slightly changing now, and they're going to be fine for a long time. Keller Williams is not going anywhere anytime soon.
No.
We're not talking about the big companies. We're talking about smaller companies, I imagine. But the Compasses, for instance, we talked about them. Like they tried to grow by acquisition.
Yeah,
I don't think that's working out so well for them.
Well, not that they tried. That's how they grew.
Yeah.
I mean, they were cutting checks. They were cutting 6-figure checks to people.
But they were buying companies too for multiple millions of dollars.
Because they had a $2 billion investment by SoftBank.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then SoftBank is actually, it's funny because that guy that I just watched an interview with him. He fucked up. He had 2 big fuck ups. Compass was one of them, and then also he had what was the workplace, WeWork or whatever it was.
WeWork, yeah.
WeWork, right?
Yeah.
So he was a huge investor in that, and he lost money on both. But he made like billions, tens of billions of dollars on other things. But it was these 2 companies, and then he kind of looked at Compass. And when Compass was hot, it was actually like they were killing it. And then Real kind of came into place, and then COVID happened. But that was their business model, acquisitions. There's a direct quote from the Compass CEO at some point said, "We had the money. What did you expect us to do? Like we had to spend it. We literally had the money in our account."
Yeah.
And they just bought our agents. So they just bought market share.
Yeah.
That's
You know what's interesting though? If COVID didn't happen, Compass had a good shot
Of making
at
it?
really making it and controlling the market.
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Because
Not only agent wise, but also consumer wise. They were investing a lot of money on their website, consumer facing
agent
stuff.
awareness.
Yes.
I mean, brand awareness.
Brand awareness.
100%.
Yes. Yeah. They were killing it. I mean, 2019 and 2018 and 2018 to 2020, right before COVID.
Yeah.
Crushing.
They were just crushing.
That heavy buy-in model can work if you outspend.
So look,
But now
we don't know
because there's no money now.
The other, I said Gary Keller. He's one of the bright minds. Another bright mind that we all know is Anthony Lamacchia. Like they're growing at a wild rate of speed right now, but they're growing by acquisition too. And they're a private company, so we don't know what their books look like. But just the way Anthony runs his business, I can't imagine that he's buying companies and failing at it.
No,
that
not.
guy is a savage.
But if you think about it, right, he's buying companies in a much smaller scale, right? So like
For
he
now,
just bought, of course, right? But like he bought, what's it called, Blue Sky Real Estate in Seekonk, right?
Yep.
They just bought, and they have about 100 agents. So now all the signs in Seekonk for Hobith are Lamacchia Realty.
Yeah,
right?
You see it all over the place. I mean, pretty much any brokerage, I'm sure, any small mom and pop brokerage has probably been approached by Anthony if they have any kind of sense of any kind of actual production. Yeah. I'm sure he's approached them all at this point.
Yeah, and
What he's doing too is he's implementing his system
Oh, he's tactful, you know,
right?
the guy
And
is
he has a
super
very, very, very like this is my system.
formula. Yeah.
It's not going to be for everybody. There's going to be people that switch over and leave.
100%.
And there's going to be people that go in and buy in because it's growing so quickly, and they're saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
why is this happening this way?" Because obviously he's doing something right there.
Yeah.
I followed him since literally when I got in the business, back when he was actually still in production, like
Yeah.
way back when.
Yeah.
And he's just always been someone I followed because I was just so impressed by what he does. And
He was one of the only people in New England that had, an innovative approach to real estate. I want to say, and yeah, he's great. I actually, the news just broke. So the DOJ just approved the lawsuit.
Yep.
This was yesterday, but the day before, they came out late at night. Saying that they had a problem with the exclusive buyer agreement to tour homes, and they weren't going to approve it. And he was like, I was watching him, break it down, and he cares about our industry. He loves the industry. I love him. I think it's great.
He's who I got all of our information from throughout this whole process with the DOJ.
You know, it's
and
funny.
lawsuit.
You had a good idea a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I know. I was shocked. That's why I remember it, because it was so uncommon. But you had said, I think you commented on somebody's Facebook post or something where you said Keller Williams should buy LaMacchia Realty and make LaMacchia the CEO of Keller Williams. I think that's a brilliant idea, and I think
'Cause-
if he did that, Keller Williams would be right back on top.
I entirely agree, because Gary Keller is really, really incredibly smart. He built it to what it is today,
Yeah.
but I think they need a fresh look, and he can still be a part of the company.
Yeah.
But Anthony LaMacchia, in my opinion, at least we know him here because it's locally in New England, and I know he's got the spot down in Florida too. But he has to be one of the most profound people in the real estate space.
For sure.
And if he would to be the face of that franchise or that company, I think wholeheartedly, I believe they would
Figure it out.
very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
Very, very quickly.
I don't know why we're talking about.
Are you guys gonna jerk him off too?
I think he's just super smart.
No,
Like, I
but
think he's-
I'll tell you one more thing. I think the problem with Gary Keller is that he's like a cowboy. And that's why if you look at Keller Williams, they have a new CEO every 1.5 to 2.5 years.
Right.
It's because he's just never going to let it go
Yeah.
until he literally dies.
and that's the
You know?
problem. That's why
Yeah.
I think they kind of flail around a little bit with their executive staff, because he
Yeah.
refuses to try and give it up and realize, hey, okay, maybe it's time to pass the torch on. You have such a profound platform already with people here. Don't lose it.
And people love Keller
It
Williams.
is, and that's
People
fine.
love
It's
it.
not a bad company. It's
He's
just
Jerry Jones in the NFL.
that's what it feels like.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. He's got
mean,
the Cowboys, right?
what I
he's
love is-
Jerry Jones, but you think he's going to hire someone that's going to have a different opinion?
Never.
No fucking way.
When I started
Never.
realizing that maybe he's just losing touch with the marketplace and what it is, was when he wrote his book Shift, because he's
Yeah.
preparing for the market shift, and the market never shifted. The market is still trending
a
in the
mess.
upwards
Yeah.
direction. And I was
Yeah.
like, you've been missing this for 6 years now, and eventually, maybe you'll be right
might be
one
right
day,
100 years from now, but-
but you're missing the point of the marketplace because you projected that things would go into the team realm, and it did. And now it's kind of deviating from that. And you said, now you're going to prepare for the shift. Well, the shift never happened. And,
never
you've
did.
been pushing the shift thing for so long.
Yeah.
It's like,
I remember people forget that before COVID, 2019 and 2020, the conversation was prepare for the market is crashing.
Right.
That was the conversation.
Yes.
And then COVID happened, and now obviously, we don't even remember 2019 anymore. But that was the conversation. That's a good point. Another thing that I remember, I don't know why this turned out. We're just shitting on Gary Keller.
No, I'm not-
It's not intentional.
I don't think we're
But I'll
shitting
say
on it.
this
It's
one
just-
last thing, right? I remember when they started building this CRM, right? They started building this CRM, and they were making all of their agents use their CRM.
Yeah.
You were there, so probably you know, right?
It was the clunkiest.
And you could run Facebook ads and all that shit. And I remember looking at that, I'm like, bruh, I can just get a ready CRM that I
it's
don't
already-
need for you to fix it for $30 a month, right?
They were trying to do
Yeah.
all in one integrated system.
Yeah.
So
I wonder
I
who
will-
has that model.
I will say this, and that's exactly,
Or is it?
no, but I agree, and I was going to go to the tech fails too, because I think KW has had a string of tech fails recently, and that's been a big issue. I admire Gary Keller for recognizing that tech is going to be probably the thing that brings the next brokerage in,
Right.
or propels a brokerage.
Right.
But I think they had the tech fails, which again is why I do love Real, because I mean we're winning.
Let's
on
be
the tech.
transparent. When I first came over, we had some tech issues, but they've
Then we bought a tech company.
yeah, and they continued, and now it's like mind blowing. Where it is now, where it was before.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just be a little bit non-biased here. It sucked at first.
It was terrible.
You know what's funny is when you go to the real, just the platform, right? Rezen. When you go on there, we are used to it because we're at Real. But if you come from a different brokerage and you look at that, it does not feel like a real estate company, right? And it's because there's a lot of engineers in the background who are not real estate agents. And that's our problem with our industry. We're in such a bubble that even if we try to design some sort of tech, a lot of brokerages, if you try to design some sort of tech, you refuse to say, let me hire someone who worked at Google. Let me hire someone who worked at Amazon and tell them what we're trying to build. You have the CFO or the CTO, he's somehow a real estate agent, right? Like you have to expand. And that's why, like when you look at Real, also that's why it doesn't work for some agents, right? Like that's why some agents are like, I'm out, I'm too old school, this doesn't work for me. But if you embrace it, it's like, I can't imagine like doing things a different way anymore. I literally
it'd be
can't
impossible.
imagine. I can't imagine.
It's so easy for
You
me
know?
to like put stuff together now, especially I don't know if you guys have templated in Real Signature. This can just be a side tangent for a second, but I put all the documents and forms that I use on a regular basis and have like files in Real Signature. So if I want to go put an offer together or a listing agreement together, it takes me literally 2 minutes.
Wow.
2 minutes. And
I don't have that.
And like if I have a listing and I have the listing already in Reason, I can tabulate all the files and send out for signature, and it automatically uploads into that file. So I don't have to drag and drop anything. It's already done. It's literally the simplest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I used to do the complete opposite. I was like in transaction desk. I'd type it all out, download it, upload it into Resin, put all the signatures in. And it was a giant pain in the ass. And then if you want to change the offer, it didn't get accepted, you got to go do the whole thing all over again, get everything all signed over again. Now I just edit.
I'd love to see
30
that.
seconds.
I never set that up.
I have to take the time to set it up.
Yeah,
too.
because I just
Here's
Sarah
a good thing. I
my
can just share
but
it with you guys because Real allows that. I can just literally share the templates with you.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Can you please do that?
Stop. Yeah, seriously.
Oh yeah.
I can share them with you and then it's done already.
Yo, we
Thanks,
just
Tamir.
learned something.
Thanks, Tamir. Pritesh, I love you.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think it's for protection. But so these are all things, and the I don't want to name on the podcast, but Dave Cherry, he came over and bleeped that out, just keep him out of it for a second. But he came over and he was like saying, he's like, oh, I wish they we could do this. It'd be a little easier if I could do it this way. And I said, just write it into support. Anytime you have like a change or something that would be easier for you, just email support and put it on their idea list, and they will work on it. Because that's how the company gets better, is by hearing from agents that are actually in the platform, using the platform.
Yeah, bro.
Where are your struggles and where are your wins? And that's how you adapt and change and adapt and change.
You're firing me up right now.
Yeah,
you really
it
are.
is.
Because you know what's funny? That's the other thing that big brokerages do not pay enough attention to. We are the data, right?
You 100%.
As agents, we are the product and the data. So like, all you have to do is listen to your agents. Hey, and it's just, you know what? When people say, like a lot of brokers and brokerages will complain, oh, people are not using our tech. Agents are lazy. They don't want to do it. No, your tech is fucking not good enough.
Doesn't work. That's why.
Okay. It has to be as good as the iPhone, and it has to be as good as Amazon and Google. And if it's not, I'm not going to use it because my brain is wired in a way to expect insane efficiency and speed when it comes to using technology.
Right.
If it's not, I don't care if it's good for me.
Right.
I'm not going to use it. It's just because I can't go from using my iPhone or purchasing an Amazon product and having it come tomorrow, and I'm going in there and it's like this archaic,
Working on a
just
Nokia
weird.
phone.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not going to use it. And that's the only reason why agents don't use it.
I think it's so important to make sure, for everyone involved in the company is you have to email support when you have problems or flaws in your business, saying, it'd be easier if I had this, it'd be easier if I had that. That is the point of being at a tech-faced company or tech-encouraged company, so we can use that software to make your life easier. And if it's making my life easier, I'm sure it's going to make everyone else's life easier.
So you know what's even better?
But before you go, on top of emailing, I would just call our broker, Justin, and just
him do it?
literally just tell him all these ideas so he can write them down.
Yeah.
He loves that.
Yeah.
You know what's even better than that?
Call Tim Macy.
Exactly. No, seriously. Because you guys didn't see the presentation at Rise. Pritesh, you know how he gathered all the data for all the new stuff that he's doing? Leo. Bro,
Yeah, so-
every question that was asked of Leo, every request that was put to Leo has been calculated, and the data shows what agents need.
Yeah.
So instantly, Pritesh said, well, we need to build out this because that's what they need, right? So now when you go into Leo and you say, Leo, I have a new listing on 123 Smith Street. Can I have some social media templates? And it says, sure, here you go. Here's
Right.
3 different versions of it.
Yeah.
Feel free to just share these.
Does Leo have the agent count?
That is because of what the questions were asked of Leo.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
And that's,
Yeah.
I guess that's
crazy.
the other thing too, is use Leo and ask them questions.
Dude.
That way they can adapt
Yeah.
and learn too.
It's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah.
If you put a new listing in, Leo will ask you, hey, do you want me to build you templates for this? Like,
Yeah, I
what?
just did it. I just did it.
What?
I just did it. It's fucking easy. It's like nothing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, oh man. I mean,
Leo
it's
needs
next
to
level.
update because that's not correct.
What is that? What does that say?
Oh,
Let me see.
hold on. Let me take a picture. Let me take a picture. I'm going to send this. I'm going to send this to Pritesh so he can update it.
Yes. Yes. Send it to
I
me.
was like, that's and that's why we need to do these things. It's important.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
If we can't be critical of our own software, then
Yeah.
we're
So basically, what they just did is he asked Leo how many agents were in the brokerage, and it said 17,000. We
should
are
have
at
somewhere probably-
25,000, I believe, or 22,000.
it's like between 22 and 23, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I understand like people come and go, but I wish there would be a way to have like a more accurate depiction of how many people are at Real.
I think
It should be like a live leaderboard of like how many agents we have.
No, dude. I think if you go to what's the new thing now? Work Vivo.
Work
Vivo. I think the count is accurate there because once
I
you
didn't even know what was in there.
yeah, there's a if you go to the break room on Work Vivo, you'll see the count there of the total agents, and I think it was about 22,000 and change, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that's how you can go. So I guess now we're just on our phones texting. Okay, that's fine.
Is Leo like an AI?
Yeah.
It's an AI.
Where
yeah.
in break room is it?
And maybe it's just on your computer.
It could be.
Yeah, if you go to your computer, you'll see it. I think it's because, yeah, it's got to be there. Because I just posted something the other day. I posted that meme that I sent you guys as my wife was in delivery. Do you know that meme? I sent you with before and after you joined a Real Broker.
Oh, yes. That was funny.
Sweet. Cool.
Oh shit.
Well, dude, I took that and I sent it to Tim. Were you in that group chat?
No.
Or he took it and he sent it in the group chat because it's like the really well dressed guy and the
Yes, yeah.
So it's shit. So so Tim put it out in a group message and I go, Tim Macy, who's like the scrub looking guy, and Brad McCallum.
No, I did that. I
you
sent
did that?
Yeah. I sent that to the group chat.
No.
Yeah. No, it was me.
Oh, you sent the picture.
Yeah, I said I said the picture, and I just said before and after you joined Real, and then you said, you said that.
Well,
yeah.
So it was both of you guys.
And then I saw Tim
I know,
last
yeah.
week, and he was like, that really hit home. He goes, the problem was, it was so true.
Oh, man.
What we're talking about here now is that Tim dresses like a 9-year-old. That's what we're talking about. He's just dressed like his 9-year-old.
Yes.
So, anything else?
It was pretty good. I think it was a couple of good topics. covered.
We should talk about how low inventory is.
Oh, my God.
Shut the fuck up.
Cool. All right. Yeah, I think
it
this
was
is
good.
cool.
It was good.
We shot on Keller Williams. Garrett
Jerked off
Keller. We
Anthony
jerked
Lamacchia.
off Anthony Lamacchia.
All valid things.
We
to be
know
doing.
that William Reeves is threatening with lawsuits.
Is it actually? Is it William Williams?
100%.
I haven't been paying attention. I have no
Yes,
idea.
100%. I know.
So what's the? This is totally off topic from
No, no.
podcast stuff
Keep
now.
it, keep
But what is Byron Lazine? What's going on with him? Is he just out of William Ravis or?
Did he? Why would
Well, he had like the 5 a.m. club thing, and he shut that down. And I'm not sure if he's just focusing
No,
like
no,
brokerage media.
he shut that down because of the BAM.
Yeah, just too much stuff
today.
going on?
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
too
too
much.
much.
Yeah, it's just too much.
He'll never. I mean, he may leave Ravis, but he'll never come to Real. He loves Real. He promotes Real.
Yeah.
He's friends with all the Real people.
I don't get it. Why
Because
is
he
that?
thinks he'll lose all his credibility if he does that. Because
What do you mean?
All of a sudden he'll be a real shill and nobody will want to pay attention.
Yeah. It's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very
But
fair.
I don't know. It's like
He's trying to be as like
I think
as
it's
like Walter Cronkite-esque, if you will, like just like
Brad and-
unbiased, like just
But what's like a? I mean, I don't know, he's probably made a whole bunch of money now at this point. But it's gonna say, what's a better path for himself? Is it being at Real and doing that run, or is it just being part of brokerage and media? And I don't know the answer to that. That's just a
Yeah,
question.
well, they make. I mean, their team
That's
just.
huge.
I think they sell about probably like 600-700 homes a year. He's got a legit team in Connecticut. Like they crush it.
Does he like operate the team still, or is it just
Not
like,
really. I think he's actually one of the very few people in the real estate business who did the Gary Killer thing, and he became like an owner of the team.
It does work. It's just so hard to do, and the average person cannot even remotely come close to running it
Absolutely not.
successfully.
No.
So it's like, yes, is
Absolutely
it
no
possible?
chance.
That's why I always like kind of weary to say like teams don't work. They can work. They're so hard to do.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
it's
just not
just,
in-
and
not
it's just
interested.
like doesn't appeal to a lot of people. Once you get involved with it, it's like
Yeah.
sounds cool and glorious, but it's just not.
No, it's not.
I mean, at least not for me. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, I hated it.
Yeah, and it's also now the difference is that a lot of teams have Zillow Flex, but Zillow Flex is more for established teams,
Yeah.
so you can't just start a team. And the buying leads just doesn't make sense, so it's hard. But anyway, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys that I have to write $1 million offer and I forgot?
Ask Leo, bro.
My client just texted me, "Hey, do we have to like sign something, or did you just send it over?" And then the agent texted me, "Hey, are your clients going to make an offer?" I fucking forgot.